Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. If you're watching this video and it's Salah time, please pause it and go pray and come back when you're done. Please check out the description section of this video to support the channel. A channel member sent me a recent video of Daily Wire presenter Brett Cooper claiming Muslim immigration, particularly from the Middle East, is causing issues in the UK and that the British justice system shows bias towards people from these particular ethnic and religious backgrounds. Brett works for anti-Islam Zionist propagandist Ben Shapiro, so immediately eyebrows should be raised about her suspicious motives to make such bold claims. She even used Israel's richest servant Elon Musk's recent appearance on Joe Rogan, where he rambled on about two-tier policing to get her anti-Muslim immigration point across. The irony being, of course, that Brett, who's American, and Elon, who is South African, both descended from European colonialists, who illegally immigrated to the United States and South Africa and stole the land from both the Native American Indians and Native Africans of those two respective countries. Let's take a look at the first clip.
In the UK, where they are currently jailing people for wrongthink and for their social media posts. Now, amid mass migration into the UK over the past few years, citizens have really gotten agitated. They have started speaking up against illegal immigration and the crime that these people have brought into their countries on a massive scale. And the government is just not having it. So in 2023, they took action to start cracking down. With legislation like the new Online Safety Act that they passed at the end of last year, the UK government now has the power to police, monitor, and censor social media activity that they deem dangerous. They quickly jumped from let's protect citizens and keep kids safe online to let's jail people whose opinions threaten our power. Another woman's tweets about pro-Palestine protests landed her in a year-long police investigation. Two men that made heated posts about illegal immigration, about the influx of Middle Eastern migrants that have come into the UK, have also been arrested because the police claim that their posts could have incited violence, even though they literally acknowledged that the men took no part in any violence or protesting. Just listen to this. Passing sentence on Friday, this happened this fall, the judge, Guy Carl KC, accepted Parler, that's one of the men, accepted that Parler took no part in the violence, but said, quote, "There can be no doubt that you were inciting others to do so." Quote, "You went on to say that you did not want your money going to immigrants who rape our kids and get priority. You were encouraging others to attack a hotel which you knew was occupied by refugees and asylum seekers. Just because of a post. A post that, yeah, might be a little edgy, but he didn't do anything in real life." Another person, guys, was sentenced to 20 months behind bars for saying that they didn't want to pay for illegal aliens with their tax dollars. Just listen to what this judge had to say.
You went on to say that you did not want your money going to immigrants who, quote, "our kids and get priority," end quote. This offence is so serious that an immediate custodial sentence is unavoidable. Would you stand, please? The sentence that I pass has been reduced by 1/3 to reflect your guilty plea.
This man literally had to plead guilty because he expressed an opinion about illegal immigration on social media.
Firstly, since the Israeli Wire lost Candace Owens due to her not agreeing with Arab kids being wiped out in Gaza, all they have left is Brett Cooper. And though Brett does present well and is a natural on camera, she's just not got the X factor Candace has got when it comes to being direct. She half-heartedly singled out Middle Eastern immigration to the UK as the issue to imply it's a Muslim problem. When it comes to illegal immigration, I do think people should follow the correct and legal process to enter into any country. That way the citizens have peace of mind due to a screening process being in place, and the people migrating are also protected as they will take safer travel options. But if people have entered illegally, no one should be inciting violence against them or being violent towards them, nor should they be making illegal migrants a target for racial or religious prejudice. These are all criminal offences. And just to be clear, I personally don't think people that make derogatory posts on social media should be imprisoned, especially not through releasing actual criminals just to make room for people trolling online. But I do think they should face repercussions such as fines or community service. Firstly, Brett is defending a journalist who incorrectly accused the London police of taking a picture with what she labelled anti-Semitic pro-Palestine protesters. However, it turned out the picture was taken in Manchester, where the police posed with two random Pakistani men before October 7, 2023 and had nothing to do with Palestine whatsoever. Secondly, the two men Brett is defending, one of them specifically incited violence towards migrants and called for the vandalism of a British hotel. And the second man, as you saw from the clip, labelled all immigrants as grapists. Again, I don't think these people should be jailed, but they definitely should be reprimanded. Freedom of speech speech does not mean you have the freedom to abuse and harass others due to your discriminatory ignorance and hatred. Brett clearly condones people inciting others to commit violence or to vandalise hotels in the name of freedom of speech, as we saw from the clip. Does she extend that sentiment to people using racial or Islamophobic slurs, which are actual criminal offences, and rightly so? It sounds that way to me. Let's look at the next clip, where Brett ropes in fellow European immigrant Elon Musk to give her shallow stance some validity.
But thankfully, people are starting to wake up, in large part thanks to Elon and all of these stories being shared around X. Just watch.
Several thousand people have been given prison sentences in the UK for social media posts where there was no explicit link to actual violence. But they just said it encouraged violence. I'm like, well, did anyone actually do anything as a result of that media post? Well, no. But they're just, and then they have a prison overcrowding situation in the UK, so they're quite literally releasing convicted pedophiles and putting people in jail for Facebook posts. That's an actual thing happening in Britain.
And guys, what makes this even crazier is that this is the same government that is going after Elon, that is going after him for X, for his free speech rules on the platform, saying that is, hurting the UK, that's inciting violence. They are literally going after him just because of the way that he runs his platform. And as Elon said, what is even worse is that while the UK government is seemingly cracking down on digital violence and misinformation, they are simultaneously emptying their prisons and letting people walk free. Of course, why didn't we think of that? The prisons are overcrowded and our justice systems can't handle the rising crime in our country, so let's release and not jail criminals, and instead, we'll go after people who post things on social media that hurt our feelings. That's literally what is happening. It is a two-tiered justice system, and their priorities obviously do not lie with protecting citizens.
Again, I don't think actual criminals should be released from prison to make way for social media trolls, but there definitely should be a clampdown on hateful online behaviour. What if someone is talking about and encouraging others to commit horrific crimes against children? I don't think that type of free speech should be permitted, but according to Elon and Brett, it should. What if people are bullying others to the point of harassment, or manipulating impressionable people into thinking taking their own lives is a good idea? According to Elon and Brett, that's just free speech. And we can add things like degrading people for the colour of their skin, a disability, or the religion they practice. The list goes on. If this is normalised and people post like this without regulation, eventually it will begin to be acted out in society. Elon Musk has a responsibility as an owner of one of the biggest social media platforms in the world to regulate this, instead of taking sides and stirring the pot like he did during the UK riots. Brett talks as if Elon is anti-establishment, and that is why the UK government had issues with his platform. It's not. As I showed you, he literally got involved in raising tensions in a foreign country where violence had spilled out onto the streets, instead of calming things down or simply staying silent. Elon is the establishment, as you can see here. He's Trump and Netanyahu's whipping boy. He's not edgy or counterculture as Brett Cooper implied. And as far as Brett's claims about a two-tier justice system and her referring to anti-Palestinian tweets and anti-Muslim immigration posts as threatening the British authorities' power, that is delusional. The British police and politicians are majority non-Muslim white people, just like the British public are. How is it in their best interest to favour minorities or Muslim immigrants, legal or illegal, at the expense of their own extended families and friends? This is nonsense Daily Wire Israel-sponsored propaganda designed to slyly mould perspectives to be Islamophobic. Similar to Elon Musk and Brett Cooper, Nigel Farage, an anti-Muslim right-wing politician, is one of the loudest voices accusing British Prime Minister Keir Starmer of two-tier justice.
There is a growing feeling of anger in this country that we are living through two-tier policing and a two-tier justice system.
I'm angry to be put in a position of having to release people who should be in prison because the last government broke the prison system.
You would think these guys were worse enemies from that clip, but here they are all cozied up together laughing and joking. Looks to me like these two shady politicians are on the same side, Brett. And here's the current British Prime Minister supposedly showing favour to Middle Eastern people, as Brett claimed, by speaking about Israel having the right to starve and cut off the energy supply to Palestinian civilians and children.
Israel must have that, does have that right to defend herself.
A siege is appropriate? Cutting off power, cutting off water?
Well, I think that Israel does have that right. It is an ongoing situation. Obviously, everything should be done within international law.
Looks to me like Keir Starmer and Elon Musk are on the same side, despite Elon accusing him of two-tier policing. Maybe I've got it wrong. Let's do Brett a favour and look into former British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Nope, still anti-Muslim, but I'll tell you who he does favour.
We stand with Israel. Today, tomorrow, and always.
But let's be completely fair and go further back to the UK Prime Minister before Sunak, Boris Johnson. Yep, still anti-Muslim. And let's look at who he does favour.
UK, US and Israel are all allies and friends. We have to stand with Israel.
And we could keep going back to Tony Blair or all the way back to Winston Churchill, and you would find similar, if not worse, examples. If there is a two-tier justice system in the UK, it doesn't favour Muslims, minorities or migrants. It favours Israel. The UK police and government are not biased towards Muslims, Muslim immigrants, legal or illegal non-Muslim immigrants, or even British ethnic minorities. These groups are not, nor have they ever been favoured by the authorities. And before the trolls start talking about the Manchester airport incident in 2024, if the police had just done their job and arrested the two British Pakistani boys who were involved in the scuffle on the premises, rather than assaulting them, they would have been brought to justice. Instead, the police are doing a damage limitation exercise due to the negligence of the officers involved in that incident, hence why nothing has come of it. And as far as grooming gangs consisting of men from Pakistani backgrounds go, anyone involved in such disgusting criminal behaviour is going against what Islam teaches. All practicing Muslims condemn this behaviour, and we all agree that the perpetrators should be in prison. In fact, if they had committed these types of crimes in a Muslim country, they would receive the death penalty. But what about people like Hugh Edwards, Philip Schofield, Prince Andrew or Jimmy Savile, who were all covered up for and who were never brought to justice? They're all white British non-Muslims. Is that not an example of two-tier justice? Let's be sensible. Of course there will be examples of the police and the justice system getting things wrong, but that does not mean they favour people with darker skin or that follow Islam. This is a ridiculous lie peddled by grifters like Tommy Robinson to cause civil unrest. A man who is currently in jail for the chaos he's caused in the UK and who also works for Israel. And speaking of Tommy and Israeli shills, the Daily Wire and Elon Musk are not simply defending people's rights to express intelligent opinions or to be disagreeable. They are defending selective bigotry because it suits the agenda of those that are pulling their strings. Thank you for watching. Make sure to join my free Telegram group via the link in the description, where we as Muslims can speak freely and without censorship about issues like this. And remember to like, subscribe and become a channel member for access to exclusive content. Until next time, inshallah, Jazakallah khair.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar,